unfortunately, a lot of guys banged up today, even though it was a short game for us in the most part, meaning that our ones didn't have a lot of reps. DeJon Harris still out, Christian Tupou out, Demetrius Wright out, Dewanza Starling very limited, Matt Khalil very limited, Simi very limited, and Robert Woods limited. So surprisingly large amount of injuries, for a game like that where we had a bunch of our guys only played 30, 35 snaps. So hopefully we'll get them all back. We'll need them all for a very challenging week, as I said the other day. Probably the hottest team in the country, especially if you put them in their place. I don't know that anybody could tell you that there's a better team right now when they play at home than the Oregon Ducks. So it's an awesome challenge for us, and we're excited to go up there.
You probably don't pay attention to point spreads, but it's something like 16 or 17. Do you think that's a fair representation of the differences between the two teams?
Oh, I don't know. Those things are wrong, right, whatever. So I can see why it would be like that. Look at what they've done at home to almost everybody. So it is what it is. We've been pretty heavy underdogs, a few weeks ago when we went into the Midwest. So sometimes I didn't take it as motivation. And also, the pressure's off, in those type of games. There's always, like I told our team today, when we were here before with the great runs and the 34 straight, the pressure was always on us. We were the #1 team, and we were the ones that had to play well to stay up there, and so a lot of times in these games the pressure goes the other way, with the team that's got a chance to go to the national championship still, and we just go up there and have some fun and see what happens.
And you stop an offense that almost nobody's been able to stop.
Yeah, for the most part since the opener, really nobody's slowed them down for an entire game. They do it at times, and so the good thing is you can see it done for quarters and even halves, and now we have to find a way to put it together and rotate a bunch of guys in there and keep our gaps and not let the ball get out in space.
How important is it also to take care of the ball? You can't give a team like that extra opportunities like Stanford did last week.
Yeah, any time that you have a really special offense like these guys and you're going against them, you've got to limit the possessions. You've got to not give them free possessions in the field. So if you don't do that, then you won't have a chance.
Who is Anthony Thomas's explosiveness comparable to?
Well, the only guy that I've probably seen like that, was Reggie. Obviously, he's not as big as Reggie, but when you watch those 2 kickoff returns versus Washington, I actually watched him a week ago, because we were playing Washington. The way that he can go, he can start to stop, and then how fast he can cut, he's really special. That's why he was, maybe the best player in the country.
Tough to watch him playing for, having to watch him on the opponent's film rather than your own film.
Well, a little bit, just because it was so easy. As you guys around here know, that usually doesn't happen that way. Really, one of the first commitments in our class, for the year strong, helped recruit this class and talk these kids into coming here. And so, for that to happen, it was very strange because at that point you get to, you've been around him so much and you've seen so much of his film, you start to picture how he's gonna piece in with all these other guys, and then all of a sudden it went a different way. So it is what it is. He's a great player and have a great career.
What position was he going to fight?
We would have just found a way to get him the ball. We would have looked at him all over just like we do our guys when they come in and see where he fit best. But he would be a great corner just like he was in the All-Star game, the high school All-Star game. But there's no way that you would leave him over there and not get him the ball on the other side, as you can tell.
Did it ever make you wonder, maybe you're over it now, but did it make you wonder back then how that could have happened, where he could have switched after recruiting basically this class here?
Yeah, it still doesn't make sense. I still never figured it out. It was just really unique. I don't know that we've ever had that. We had guys flop sometimes at the end, but not when they're really the leader of the class, and they're the ones bringing other kids up here, and every time you see them, they're coming up here and coming to games, SC year, head to toe, and so it was very surprising.
How did Lamar look on film in this last game, and how important is he in this upcoming game?
Lamar looked really good. Played a really good game for his second start. Made some plays in space and got us lined up extremely well too. Like you said before, he's going to be a great player, and he's starting to show it now, and he's going to have to play great this week. This is a very difficult game for any linebacker, especially for a guy making his third start.
Did you guys as coaches learn any lessons last year as far as communication, getting lined up, that sort of thing against this fast break type of team that they have?
Well, I hope so. I hope anytime that you play somebody that you learn from it and that you get better, and we'll continue to do what we've done in general this year, which is play more guys and rotate more guys in and make sure that we're getting lined up.
Is Matt's responsibility in this game any greater or different than it might be in another game because of the conditions up there and everything else that's going on?
The quarterback's always going to be an important part of whether you win or lose the game. So we don't change anything because you never know. We see these games all the time, and all of a sudden they're low scoring when they're supposed to be high and opposite. So you never know how a game's going to go. And last week I would have told you I thought we were going to throw for more yards. And we would have ran for it. So you never know until you get in the game and see what's going on in that game on that day.
When you see their offense, the way they put up points, as you mentioned, and no one's really been able to stop them, how important is it when you guys get those opportunities, you're in the red zone, to not kick field goals?
Yeah, you can't. If you kick a bunch of field goals, you're not going to beat them. And you've got to seize all the opportunities. And anytime that they're going to play, the hottest team in the country, at their place, big underdog, you're going to have to hit on all things. You can't make mistakes in any phase. I think our guys, have played together now an extra year. We're obviously playing better as a team. We're definitely playing better on defense than we were a year ago. We're not a real old team, but we do have more experience with our younger guys, and they've been on the road in tough games. Pardon? So we're still working on it. It's hard to do in 1 week, so we've been working on it all season, and even more this week because of who we're playing and how they play.
When you've got to score touchdowns, does that change the way you call the game offensively? In say red zone or area where maybe you kick long field goals or that sort of thing?
Not necessarily as the plays that you call. Sometimes your decisions may be different. On long field goals, where it's fourth and short, and you're in the red zone and stuff. You may be more apt to go for it. But once again, you got to get a feel for the game and see how it's going. And just like last week, I would have thought there'd be more points early in that game last week. So you never know.
You mentioned Saturday being disappointed in the lack of discipline, which, as you just said, is something you can't afford to do against Oregon. So how do you fix that?
Well, I think our guys just got too comfortable. We really tried for that not to happen at halftime and tried to start the game over, and we got the big lead, and then our guys, got too comfortable, and they haven't been used to being in that situation a lot. And you got to keep playing, you got to keep the mental focus. You can't let down, and I thought we got lackadaisical in general after we got the big lead.
Was the fake punt intentional, or was that drawn up beforehand, or was that audible by the punter?
No, that's something that we work on. We've worked on for weeks, for the right team when they play the right front, and worked on a lot last week for that situation, and the players did a great job executing it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.